Hey, what's going on? It's Joe Rock. Happy to be here today on location at Wentworth Gallery with Rick Allen.
Fantastic. Thank you.
So today we're actually going to talk something a little bit different for Rick. Of course, you know him as the drummer from Def Leppard, the Thunder God. But today we're going to talk about the artist because we're at this exhibit. It's The Wings of Hope, which is actually, this is the title piece for the exhibit. So right dead center, one of the things in there that struck me, and it's in a lot of different pieces of your artwork, is the handprint. And I know when we spoke the last time, you said that you kind of chose that because you had almost lost your right arm as well, and you thought about all the things you put your hand through. When you put your hand in paint and put it on a canvas or whatever the medium is you're putting it on, what are you feeling coming back to you from your creation?
Well, I think having a daily practice, like counting my blessings, a piece like this really brings me back to that place. And, you know, I developed a really good relationship with, with the people in the hospital. They basically, they saved me. And I think it's good to point out that I don't think too many people realize that I broke my right arm really severely, broke the ball off the top. But the problem was I had a really bad infection just above my elbow. So we couldn't fix the bone until the infection was gone. So I'd talk to the nurse and I'd say, I don't care about the pain, just let's get this thing cleaned up. Anyway, probably about 2 weeks went by. We managed to get rid of the infection, and then they could pin the shoulder. So I think it's just me. I remember how dark it was when I heard that I might lose my right arm as well. So I think it's just that part of me that realizes that them saving my right arm was probably the biggest blessing, So, and I put this hand through a lot, from music to painting, to everyday life, you name it, learning how to do new things. So I think if people knowing that story, when they see the handprint on the piece, how much it took to get that handprint on the piece is pretty special. So, yeah.
Now your art journey began a long time ago, and it's family-based, and it seems to continue that way. You said that your grandfather gave you your camera as a young lad.
Yeah.
We're here at the exhibit today too. Your wife has paintings that are part of this exhibit. How has that thread of family traveled through your journey in art?
It's actually really cool because I really loved painting as a kid. It was something I could really just throw myself into headlong. And some of the other subjects I was dealing with, I wasn't a big fan of. So art was a great release for me. I just felt in the moment, and then of course, probably around 7 or 8, my grandfather got me my first camera, and that was a huge gift, discovering photography. And then of course, fast forward to me joining Def Leppard when I was 15 years old. Then I was completely immersed in the music. Fast forward, my soon-to-be 11-year-old daughter, when she was born, it didn't take long before me and her started painting together. And that really just reignited my passion for wanting to do this. So and the family, the idea that we can all get in the art room together and create, these beautiful individual pieces, but still be in the same room together and working, instead of, sitting in front of a computer screen or, I mean, the kids these days, they take up so much bandwidth with technology. It's nice to do something as a family that doesn't involve technology. So I think that's one of the reasons why, particularly during COVID, we all really got into it, because it it was a way to keep our sanity, you know, and just do things together as a family.
Well, there's so many pieces in the exhibit, so many different aspects to it. One of them, and we spoke a little bit about this before we started recording the camera, is your icons, people who have influenced you musically who are no longer with us. And you said your first one was your bandmate Steve Clark.
Yeah.
And your most recent one is Charlie Watts.
Well, I think Steve Clark was safe because I knew him, and you know, it was my best friend, you know. Interesting story. I wasn't really that thrilled about showing it to people, and then I sent a photograph of it to my mum, who just so happens keeps in touch with Steve's mum to this day. And Steve's mum was like, "Oh, it's so beautiful," you know. He captured Steve's essence, you know, and that really gave me the confidence to really show that piece with pride, you know. So that was really the first. That was probably about 5 years ago, and then more recently, you know, we lost Charlie Watts, which is devastating. Not only to the drumming community, but everybody. I mean, fans all over the globe. So, again, bittersweet experience, but the best way I could pay homage to Charlie was really, you know, paint him. And I only met him once, but he was so sweet, just really, really a good person. Just felt very grounded and comfortable in his own skin. And he was just very kind to me. I just wanted to cuddle him because he was shorter than me anyway. He was great.
Well, you know, as I look around the exhibit, there's so much about symbols. Mm-hmm. Hearts show up a lot, not just in the title piece of the exhibit now, but you also have a couple pieces over there.
Yeah.
A Union Jack with a heart on it, an
yeah.
American flag with a heart on it. And, you know, you definitely do have a lot of imagery from both the countries.
Yeah.
Obviously your home country, and what has the States come to mean to you over all these years?
Well, I didn't come to the States until 1980. Our first show was Santa Monica Civic, 20th of May, 1980, opening up for Pat Travers. And that was the first time I really got a taste of what America was or is, and not through the eyes of TV, you know? So I just brought my English life experience and kind of brought it over here, and then started to experience, you know, sort of the American way of life. And then I guess now what you see is kind of a blend of the two, you know, just you know, from telephone boxes to, you know, Stars and Stripes. And then what I really try to do is soften the flags by using imagery like the hearts or like the peace signs. And then to me, it just makes it more accessible to more people. And I think it's that kind of patriotism where it's all inclusive. I love the idea of that it's not, the message of patriotism isn't twisted. It's just soft, and it appeals to everybody. And I love that, all-inclusive.
Well, you mentioned the peace sign in there, and that does show up through your work as well. And it made me wonder, you mentioned to me when we spoke by Zoom earlier in the week about dealing with PTSD. Uh-huh. Has art been a source of peace for you in your life?
Absolutely. And that was one of the things I saw in my daughter when she started painting, was how she immediately went into the moment. And it reminded me of where I go when I play music. And I think that was one of the things that appealed to me. The idea of painting became really therapeutic. And, you know, if my nervous system was triggered in any way because of the PTSD or whatever, I knew there was a way that I could settle my nervous system down by either A, walking out, you know, finding nature, or just going to the art room and start painting. And it was a great way to just soothe myself and just be in a good place.
Now, we're talking about the PTSD. There are a lot of veterans who also suffer from that. And I know that you do donate proceeds from the exhibit to veterans charities, and you're involved in many of them. What has your experience been like meeting the veterans?
Oh man, well the veterans, they all think they know me, from them seeing me for years and years and years, which is wonderful because there's a level of trust that comes with that, and I would, it's just become such a blessing because I saw so many similarities in some of the behaviors, whether that was self-medication or bouts of anger or rage, and all these things I started to see. So it was natural for me to want to be involved in that and see how other people dealt with their PTSD. I don't claim to have everything figured out. I'm definitely a work in progress. Many of us are.
I think all of us are.
I know. So it was just a great opportunity for me to see myself better. And from that first visit to Walter Reed Army Medical in 2006, that really opened my eyes to some of the suffering that was going on, but also the potential for people to grow. So it's an easy match for me, getting involved with our veterans, just because of the similarities. Even though it's not combat related, it's still trauma nonetheless. Yeah.
Now, you've worked in a lot of different mediums. There's paintings on buses, there's painting on drums.
If you stand still for long enough, I'll paint you.
Well, it's funny because you even have spin art over here. You were talking about creating it with a potter's wheel and everything. Is there anything else that you're working on now in a different medium that has not made it to an exhibit yet that we have to look forward to?
There's a couple of free-form sort of pouring techniques that I'm looking into, but it's difficult doing the really physical, lots of paint art, because if I get too much paint on the driveway, my wife. No
matter how big of a rock star you are, you still got to fear the wife.
No, I don't fear her. No, but I know that if I get paint on the driveway, it's just going to mean I'm going to have to get the pressure washer out and do the whole thing, so, which I enjoy. But no, when she started painting out on the driveway and she got a few spots on the driveway, I was like, look, I said, that's you, that's not me.
Well, it's great if people come out here to the Wentworth Gallery and they get to see the exhibit, they get to meet you. I know that you've said that people, if they buy a piece, which, you've said to me, they don't have to buy a piece. I want them to see. No, I mean,
we'd love to. We want people to buy pieces. But I remember one time this girl came in and she said, I just want to get a picture and an autograph. And I said, did you get it? She said, they're a bit expensive. I can't really do it right now. But I want to meet everybody. You know what I mean? Obviously, we're going to have to take priority, seeing people that have bought pieces. But I do get around to seeing everybody and saying hello and taking photographs, doing all that stuff. But a year later, she came in and she bought a piece. So I was like, it doesn't hurt to be nice to people.
Well, and I think it's great that you also describe it as it's like people taking a piece of your spirit home, and that you have, after people have purchased pieces, called them up and by to visit it.
The deal I make, because there's only one original, is I'll kind of I'll whisper in their ear, if ever I want to come see the piece, are you okay if I come round? And they're like, yeah, no problem. Yeah, bring it on. So it's nice to keep relationships with the people that buy the pieces, and I'm sure they appreciate it. But I miss these pieces.
I get that.
it's you know, I'll get halfway through the project, and you know, don't tell them, but I don't want to give up the pieces. You know, I mean, by that time, I know everything about the person. You know, I've had all this time to contemplate, you know, this person's life. You know, and what it means to me. You know, and how I looked up to these people. You know. And then the realization that if it wasn't for these people that I painted, I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, you know, with the music, with Def Leppard. So it's, yeah, it's good to keep in touch with the folks, you know.
There you go. So, like I said, here we are on location at the Wentworth Gallery with Rick Allen. Come see the exhibit, meet Rick, say hello, and see what speaks to you out of the art, and maybe take a piece home with you.
Cool.